Good afternoon. Welcome to our first Tales of the Cocktail Shakeup, or Google Hangout, as they're referred to. My name's Ann Tunerman, and sitting next to me, but not on camera, is my right-hand gal, Emily Britton, who's going to help with questions and technology. We will wait a few minutes, similar to a conference call, to have some people join us. This call is primarily for people that have not attended or even possibly been to Tales of the Cocktail in the past, and we wanted to take you through a lot of information on what a Tales of the Cocktail is about. Of course, if you have been a sponsor, we welcome you to. Do you have anybody joining us? Other than myself and Emily, we're checking to see who's joining us. Again, if anybody has any questions, you can start hitting me up with those. Otherwise, I will start with an overview of Tales of the Cocktail in just a minute. The two of you are doing that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And again, if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask questions along the way. Again, Emily Britton is joining me, and we will, give you an overview of Tales of the Cocktail, talk about some of the opportunities for 2015, and then also answer any questions. Again, for those of you just joining us, my name's Ann Tunerman, founder of Tales of the Cocktail. We are going into our 13th year for Tales of the Cocktail in 2015. The event will be held July 15th through 19th in New Orleans. Our host hotel is the Hotel Monteleone. Tales of the Cocktail is the original nonprofit cocktail festival, and it is curated for the trade. So as my husband, Paul Tunerman, likes to say, it's the industry's event and we just organize it. And that honestly is how we look at it. So again, the event is programmed for the trade, and then Tales of the Cocktail is the principal fundraiser for our 501c3, which is the New Orleans Culinary and Cultural Preservation Society. That entity invests back into the hospitality community through scholarships, through tuition reimbursement, through our cocktail apprentice program. So again, then we reinvest those funds back into the hospitality industry. If you have not been to Tales of the Cocktail before, we call you a Tales Virgin. So we have Tales Virgins and Tales Veterans. And there's really nothing quite like it, which is why I really encourage people to, come to the event and really kind of immerse themselves and get a feel for the event. It's not, you know, a trade show. It's not a conference. It's kind of like a hybrid of all these things. And that's happened because it has grown with the input of the industry. So again, everything we do, we take a lot of time soliciting feedback from bartenders and people in the industry to program the event for them. And of course, over the course of the years, you know, we've educated a lot of people and those needs have changed. But the event does have a structure, and then under that structure, all of our content changes every year. So again, as Mr. Cocktail likes to say, we like our content fresh, like our cocktails. So under that structure, the core of the event is seminars. So in 2015, we will have 80 seminars. So again, our focus is about, you know, educating the bartender. And if you're a, you know, mixologist or a bartender, Tales the Cocktail is a must attend. We had people from 35 different countries join us in 2014. So then there are different types of seminars under that heading. So they could be more of a historical take. They could be an intellectual seminar. They could be an exclusive tasting. They could be a hands-on seminar. So there's a lot of different variety for you to choose from. Then we have what we call tasting rooms. Tasting rooms are a place where the brand, as I say, brings their brand personality to life. So the brand will have a tasting room, which is their own, you know, real estate, their own space, and they will bring their brand personality to life. And attendees that, you know, make a minimum investment then get access to those tasting rooms. So we weave sponsors into the content of the seminars, but this way the seminars stay truly educational and the tasting rooms are truly promotional, and it works really well that way. We also have a lot of dining and drinking options for our attendees. So we had 2 events the very first year of Tales the Cocktail, and one of them was our spirited dinners, and that year we had 10 spirited dinners. So that's something we continue to this day. It's important that we really promote our local bars and restaurants and our hospitality community. So that's one of the ways that we do that. So the spirited dinners, we take a bartender or mixologist and we, you know, pair them with a chef at a local restaurant, and they create a menu together. So again, similar to, you know, a vintner dinner, but the difference is that all the talent are actually there at the restaurant. So the attendees get to interact with them and get a very special, you know, experience. The, you know, prices are set by the restaurant. They're inclusive of tax and tip, and 100% of what you pay to dine stays with that local restaurant. Last year, we added some new elements too to our dining and drinking options, which were really successful. And one was we put together our own restaurant week program. So people could have a similar experience to the dinner, not quite as interactive and with the mixologist there, but for the whole week of Tales the Cocktail. So this gave them the opportunity to have a special menu with a cocktail pairing or neat tasting at a restaurant the entire week of Tales the Cocktail. And the other offering was something called Dynamic Duos, where we paired bartending teams together. So we had some really powerhouse teams in 2014, for example, Dale DeGroff and Chris McMillan. So people could, you know, go visit them at Kingfish and have a cocktail made by Dale and or Chris McMillan as well. So that gives you a little overview. I think what I'll do now is go ahead and share our 2015 sponsorship presentation with you, and then I can take the group through those pages. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And then I need to share this. So. Okay, here we go. I'm pressing buttons. Okay, so for those of you that are with us, and you will see the deck now and not myself. So again, we'll get started here. We have a different theme for Tales of the Cocktail every year. So 2015, our theme is The Spirits Are Calling You. So we like to think they are calling you to New Orleans. They are calling you to learn, and in general, calling you to New Orleans for 5 days, where we say the cocktail reigns supreme. I mentioned to you earlier that Tales of the Cocktail is the annual fundraiser for NOCCPS, which is, again, is our 503c organization. It's really important to us that we give back into our community in a lot of different ways. First of all, we're very proud of our economic impact. Since 2008, when that's been measured, we've had about a $65 million economic impact on the city. And again, since then, you know, we have given out, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships and really made I think, a very positive impact on some people's lives and careers. We just announced a new fund for 2015 that we are committing a minimum of $100,000 to a tuition reimbursement program. So if you have, you know, if you want to take a class or a course or something, it gets approved by us, and then, you know, we reimburse your tuition. So the thing here is it doesn't necessarily have to be a cocktail course. It could be a course on, you know, QuickBooks, accounting, you know, something like that, that, you know, will help your career, and we will, you know, fund that, you know, project for you. So again, helping people to develop their career. If you have not met the spirited women of Tales of the Cocktail, I look forward to you meeting them. But this is the crew by name and each of their job titles. So it's really important that we, you know, service you all very well, so you have access to myself or any member at our team anytime. Again, this is just a fabulous photo from our kickoff press conference. The 2014 event, we had about 17 to 18,000, you know, cocktail professionals from around the world descend on New Orleans. And every year we do a kickoff press conference, and this picture is from that particular event, which was a lot of fun and makes me smile. Your first stop when you come to Tales of the Cocktail is registration. Everybody needs to come through there to get their wristbands and other materials. You have the option to pick up your tickets in, you know, print form or get e-tickets, but you need to come to registration again to get your program, your tasting room wristbands, your credentials if you happen to be media or presenter or any of those people. And again, if you're a Tales virgin, we just want to welcome you and give you a big hug at registration. So these are some photos that you can see from registration and of the team as well. Every year at Tales of the Cocktail, we set up our own shop, kind of the market at Tales of the Cocktail, we call it. And it has some Tales of the Cocktail branded items, but then we bring in a lot of local suppliers that we work with. So again, you know, you can find out about Sweet Olive soaps. It's making, you know, Sazerac scented soap or absinthe soap, and just have some fun things maybe to bring back to those bar backs or the folks that had to work, so you could take off and join us in New Orleans. I mentioned our kickoff press conference earlier. These are a couple more photos from that. One of the important things here is that every year we have an annual cocktail competition, and we serve that winning bartender's cocktail at our kickoff press conference. So you want to be on the lookout for that to participate. This year, the competition is around the frozen daiquiri, and we look forward to seeing all kinds of combinations from bartenders. So be it, you know, bourbon, rum, you know, as creative as they can get, but we will serve you that winning frozen daiquiri at the Toast to Tales of the Cocktail. Now we'll kind of get into, you know, some of the options that we might be able to help you with for the 200 plus events at Tales of the Cocktail New Orleans. In 2014, we actually had 242 events. So I like to say it's an event intensive event, but it all really works well together. As a sponsor, you know, we have a lot of features and benefits that we can offer you. They, you know, take place on site and leading up to the event and post event. So, you know, in addition to, you know, pre-promotion via, you know, our website, our app, all of our social networks, you know, you'll have a lot of touch points as well on site. Everything from, you know, media outreach to, you know, opportunities to work with our Tales 365 membership program. inclusion in the Tales of the Cocktail program. So again, it's kind of, we look at it as a marketing campaign that really starts off in January, when we really start focusing on that year's event and announce the seminars for that year's event, start announcing tasting rooms, so we're really, activating all year long. Just the event itself is that 1 week in July. Again, one of the things that we do at Tales of the Cocktail, we call it our Shots of Inspiration bookstore and bitter market. But a lot of these things are to, service our attendees. So we work with a local bookstore and they come set up a on-site shop during Tales of the Cocktail. So again, people from all around the world that maybe don't have access to some of these books, or where shipping is an issue, can purchase, books from some of the world's most prominent cocktail authors and bitters as well. From our travels at Tales on Tour, I realized that, we are kind of spoiled here in the US and have so many options available to us. But for example, if you are in, Buenos Aires, they only have, one type of bitter. So it's something small, portable, interesting, packable that people can take back to them from around the world. So these have been a big hit for the bitters companies that participate, and again, book authors. And we're actually seeing a lot of publishing companies now release their books in May or June prior to Tales of the Cocktail. The bookstore that we work with, this is their biggest offsite event of the year. So we really are thankful to Octavia Books, and they have actually been working with me since the very first Tales of the Cocktail almost 13 years ago. We want to get you started off with a little fuel. So again, attendees that have a tasting room wristband have access to some of our morning bars. So we have coffee for you. We have Bloody Marys. We had a juice bar in 2014 as well. So a lot of options there. In 2014, we introduced a new health and wellness series too that we're planning to expand to 2015. This was a complimentary event and featured, daily yoga, meditation, information from nutritionists, from acupuncturists. Again, we recognize that, bartending is a mental and physical, job, and you have to take care of both of those areas. And, over the last 13 years, I say it's become okay to be a bartender again, and you honestly only have so many shifts in that body. So we want to be an example and make sure that you are, taking care of your body and mind as you're bartending. I mentioned earlier, there'll be 80 seminars in Tales of the Cocktail 2015. And again, the good thing about the way our event works is you can purchase anything a la carte. So if you want to go to one seminar, you can. If you want to go to 10, you can. But you get to pick and choose what you want to go to and kind of put together your own itinerary and your own package. These are some additional pictures of seminars. Again, some might be, neat tasting, some might be interesting, topics. The photo there to the right was a great seminar Claire Smith did called Sugar, the Good, Bad, and the Ugly. So again, really, in-depth topics that our presenters spend a lot of time researching and working on. And then there's a committee of 43 people from around the world that rate these seminar submissions, and that is how a seminar gets included in the Tales of the Cocktail program.
We've got our first question.
Okay, I'll take a break and answer a question.
Where might a cocktail syrup or cocktail mixers company fit into the Tales of the Cocktail Festival as a sponsor?
I think you could fit into a lot of places as a sponsor. One, you might want to look at, a tasting room. We don't have these seminar topics right now. So if there's a topic related to that, we could potentially talk about pairing you there. But I would say one, definitely a tasting room, because again, this is a place where you get to bring your brand, personality to life. I think you could show the syrup, in, drinks without spirits, or you could show it in drinks with spirits as well too. You probably have some spirit companies you've worked with before, or we can probably recommend some as well too. I would also recommend you to be a featured product in our cocktail competition with your syrups as well, because that can be, an interesting way that people could flavor their frozen daiquiri. So I would start with those two. And what I do recommend for brands that have not worked with us before is for us to work with you, and we pick one or two, activations like that that you can feel comfortable executing and that we can work with you on. And then ideally we grow together from there. I mean, we have brands that we've been working with from, since 2006 that, we've really grown together as a brand. And we do have options that we can, we provide a lot with the tasting rooms, but we also have some options where we can service you even more. So we have something we're doing in 2015 that is actually in the lobby of the Hotel Monteleone also, which is kind of like ground zero for everything, called the Corner Bar. And that's another place where, again, we could work with you and, serve your syrups in a couple different, formats, depending on how you want to showcase them. And people, they're coming to Tales of the Cocktail looking for, brands that they're familiar with. And then they're also looking for, new brands too. So this is a place where they are coming to look and find, new things to the market and meet people as well, especially the ones behind the brands. On the types of seminars, we were just getting into that. And again, we have what I call the traditional, which is a 90-minute seminar. The attendees could be anywhere from 80 to 200. We have our exclusive tasting seminars, and these are limited to 20 people. And again, this is very exclusive. So one we hosted in 2014 was a tasting of vintage chartreuses. So items from France and other parts of the world that you are not going to have access to taste. That's a very special privilege for that. And then we have the technique seminars, which are also 90 minutes. They are limited to 50 attendees. And again, these are a very, hands-on seminar. So you're learning a technique or doing something interactive with those presenters. Here's some photos, again, of some of the traditional seminars. So some friendly faces there, Jacob Briers, Jim Meehan, Duggan McDonald, lots of people, again, enjoying what we call a traditional seminar. Here's some of the exclusive tastings. You can also see, thank you to Mountain Valley Spring Water, who keeps us in water. It's actually our most consumed beverage at Tales of the Cocktail. But again, so one was on champagne, one was on vintage chartreuses. So these are some examples of those. This was a technique seminar. So again, you can see people, working with their own, materials in the technique seminars. So very well done. The Cocktail Apprentice Program, I will make a note of as well, as applications will be online in January if someone is interested in applying to be a cocktail apprentice. But the Cocktail Apprentice team is really the soul of Tales of the Cocktail. And we bring in 70 working bartenders and managers from across the country, and they help us execute all the cocktails for all of your seminars and events at Tales of the Cocktail. Here's some of our tasting rooms. Again, we try to have a lot of visuals. So if you have not been to Tales of the Cocktail, you get an idea of what some of these things look like. And we do have a separate deck that is just about tasting rooms and has every room listed, every room's dimensions, again, photographs of every room before and after. The Angostura tasting room was done at the pool at the Hotel Monteleone. So again, you can see how it's branded Angostura. So this is a place to bring your brand to life. Again, here are the tasting room options. We do these at the Hotel Monteleone and the Royal Sonesta mainly. Then we do have an opportunity if you'd like to interact with the Cocktail Apprentice team. And new in 2015, I mentioned the Corner Bar earlier, but that will be a really high profile, interesting, elaborate setup in the Hotel Monteleone lobby. And then first sips. Emily and I think this is really fun for a brand that happens to be new to market as well, but we will host you in our registration area. And as everybody comes in to pick up their materials, you literally will be the first sip somebody is having at Tales of the Cocktail 2015.
And just an additional note on tasting rooms. We also have put together a presentation outlining all the different types of tasting rooms that are available, including pictures of them from past events, pictures of them completely empty, a little bit about each room, as well as the dimensions. So you can dive a little bit deeper into that area if you're interested in sponsoring a tasting room.
Yes, thank you. Again, here's some more pictures of, kind of the traditional tasting rooms. And again, some brands go very elaborate, some don't go quite as elaborate, but there is basically, a minimum standard that you want to activate, and we can work with you on that because, our attendees honestly do have, high expectations. And again, we provide a lot of materials with the tasting room, and then you add on additional items as you would like. Again, here's some pool tasting rooms. So again, these are brands, bringing their personality to life via the pool. So one was Angostura, one was Milagro Tequila. So again, some brands, it fits their brand DNA to be, poolside. These are our apprentice meals. So again, some brands do want to interact with the cocktail apprentice team and, provide breakfast or lunch for them. So we list this under tasting rooms because in our mind, it's kind of like an invitation only tasting room. Here is the first sip. We were serving actually Mountain Valley spring water last year in registration, and then, thought about this idea and welcoming people with a little sip of spirit as well too, in addition to water. So again, you would be able to set up and bring your brand personality to life. And again, literally have somebody's first sip of Tales of the Cocktail be a product of yours, which I think would be very memorable. The corner bar, this is the best photos we have for you now as we are in the process of building a new setup, but ideally you can get a mental image and see, this would be in the lobby outside the Criolla restaurant. And again, is a very busy, activation location for Tales of Cocktail. I mentioned that we have a lot of assets that we include in the tasting room. So again, we provide you already, just as you get started, with your own spring water, with servers, with linens, with cold draft ice. We will actually start making ice in New Orleans in about late April to make sure we have enough. Cocktail napkin signage. We provide you with our 5-ounce Tales of the Cocktail tasting cups. Tables, you get to select what size and layout you want. We also really, really encourage you to use our list of preferred vendors. We have people that we have been working with and dealing with at Tales of Cocktail for many years. We believe in their level of service and refer them to you. It helps keep the local money in our economy, which has a much bigger impact, and then also ideally makes your job a little bit easier. So if you're working with the, local juice vendor or local signage company that we recommend, they're here, they know where they're going, they'll deliver it to you, makes your life much easier. Some of the things that are not included are things that, you would bring in depending on the theme of your tasting room. So be it, bar tools, be it models, be it decor, things like that. Again, I mentioned our preferred vendors, and when you spend money with a local business, a much higher percentage of that stays in the community and helps the environment and just does a lot of good all around. Also, New Orleans, we're a relatively small city, about 300,000 people, but we do have a healthy hospitality industry. We've hosted more Super Bowls than any other city, and although we do not have any Fortune 500 companies, we have the infrastructure here to supply you with your event needs, be it, music or anything you need, we can help you. Dining and drinking, I mentioned some of these options in the preview, and now I'll take you through these. But, just some success stories, and we're really, proud of these. But when we pair brands and restaurants or bars together, we want them to be busy. And most bars and restaurants now, the week of Tales of Cocktail is their biggest week of the year, bigger than Mardi Gras, Jazz Fest, anything along those lines. So, when Sobu has been open but had their biggest night ever during Tales of Cocktail, we're very proud of that. Aaron Rose broke some records, Tujax broke records, so we really are proud of these, stats, and it helps, the hospitality community in New Orleans wants to work with us. This is new for 2015 as well, but people do want to have intimate conversations in addition to being some larger format events. So we are starting something called the Breakfast Club. It will be held in these private rooms in the Hotel Monteleone. They will be set up different. And the idea is that if you have a, master blender, master distiller, forager, maybe anybody interesting with your company, we would host them at this breakfast. They'd have about 18 to 20 guests. And the idea that it's just a very intimate meeting conversation over breakfast. So people get to ask this person questions, find out more about them, and just have, a very small, intimate breakfast and meeting with somebody special in the industry. Spirited dinners, I mentioned earlier, but again, we would work with you on pairing your brand and someone from your brand with a local restaurant. And, if you're interested in the spirited dinners, we can send you past menus, past examples of, how they work. But again, this is another thing that works really well and kind of has that collaborative spirit of pairing the chef and the bartender for a very creative, memorable meal. Tales Restaurant Week was something I mentioned we started in 2014. It was very successful, and we want to continue it again. We had about a dozen restaurants that participated with us in year one. And again, we asked people to come up with a special, tasting menu for Restaurant Week, and we paired those restaurants and spirit companies together. So for example, you could have eaten at the Hotel Monteleone Criolla restaurant for, $25 with a Pisco Portone cocktail. You could have had a special meal at the Windsor Court. You could have a special meal at Green Goddess with Banks rum. So it gave people a really affordable option to try something else during Tales of the Cocktail. And the reason we started this is because a lot of people have told us over the years, there's just too many good spirited dinners on one night and they can't decide which one to go to. So now you kind of have, a choice, and we're giving people a really good value the week of Tales of the Cocktail and showcasing our local bars and restaurants and a local spirit, or a spirit that we work with, not necessarily local. Dynamic duos, again, touched on these earlier. These were hugely successful. We want to feature them again in 2015. And, I just like the idea of people collaborating. And again, this was really fun. So we had David Wondrich and Paul Gustings bartending together at Broussard's. We had Abigail Gullo and Jim Meehan at Sobu. So again, all these things you would work through us. You don't go set anything up on your own, but we work with the bar and the brand on putting it all together. And these were wildly successful and just really fun for people. Maybe you've never, seen David Wondrich behind the bar. Maybe you've never seen Dale DeGroff behind the bar. People that you really respect and admire, but get to, interact and have a drink with them, and they get to bartend with somebody that they think is a ton of fun and have always wanted to bartend with as well too. Special events. We have a lot of special events also the week of Tales of the Cocktail, some that we organize and curate on our own, and some that you will have the opportunity to present to us if you have an idea for a special event you would like to host at Tales of the Cocktail. The Happy Hour series are events that we do curate on our own. So we come up with different themes and events, and the two that we are hosting in 2015 that you can be a part of that are a themed event. One is called Made in America, and the idea is to focus on some of the new and upcoming spirits in the US and give people the opportunity to taste those. And the other one is around the daiquiri time out. So we will have brands and bartenders together, and they will all create, be it a frozen daiquiri, a Hemingway daiquiri, an original daiquiri, and guests will be able to sample those. So this is not just your brand in the room. You'll be in there with probably about 18 other brands. So it's still very small, but a really good, affordable touch point for a lot of brands. This is a more detailed description of the Made in America event. And a more detailed description of the daiquiri timeout. And this was founded by Andrew in Boston, and we're glad that he is allowing us to kind of showcase the daiquiri and the daiquiri timeout here too. Our biggest event of the week of Tales of the Cocktail is our Spirited Awards. 2015 will be the 9th annual Tales of the Cocktail Spirited Awards. They are definitely the Academy Awards, the Oscars, the Golden Globes, whatever you want to call it, of the spirits industry. They take place on the Saturday night of Tales of the Cocktail. In 2014, we handed out 25 awards, and you do have the opportunity to, be a participating brand in the awards if you're interested. Again, I mentioned some of these earlier, but, a brand is more than welcome to be in the official cocktail competition and, bidders companies in our bidder market. And again, we really try to give people a good sense of value, be it the attendee or the brand. So I can honestly tell you, if you reach out to us after and we provide you with the pricing on all the sponsorship opportunities, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Again, a little more information on the bidder market. July of 2014, and the idea is for us to take some of the wonderful educational content and relationships we have with people and share it with bartenders from around the globe all year long. So as a member of Tales 365, you get access to videotaped seminars that we've done, exclusive podcasts. We just had our first curated distillery trip to Guadalajara. You get special discounts for partners of ours. You get early access on tickets and tastings. So it's a full, slew of benefits for Tales 365 members. But we can definitely help you with that. And I do highly recommend people photograph and or videotape their seminars or their events. There's a lot that can be done with that on social networks after. And again, if it's a great seminar, you might want to share it with your team internally, your networks and other people. And again, we would be interested in working with you as well to share it with our members. Again, if you want to, submit an idea, we would love to work with you on that. We do work closely with our Louisiana ATC, so we, follow all their rules. A product does have to be distributed in Louisiana to work with us, but again, we can help you with that and guide you through and make some recommendations on distributors or brokers for you. Louisiana is not a franchise state, so you can work with one distributor, and then if you decide to change, make a change down the road. Does anyone have any other questions for me as we're just kind of going through these last few slides here?
We do have a question on When does a brand need to be listed in Louisiana?
We would have you listed by May 1st. That is our deadline that we need to put in all of our liquor orders and materials. So May 1st is the deadline for that. There we go. So May 1st is the deadline for that. And again, you know, it does not take long. It's not a lot of paperwork. You fill it out. I think it's a couple $100, send it to the stage, probably takes about 2 or 3 weeks. I would not recommend you wait till last minute. So again, that can be done anytime, and we can make some recommendations for you on that. We do have a lot of links on our website too, and again, have a lot of additional information we can share with you that, you know, goes into pricing, that goes into more details on tasting rooms and different things that you might be interested in.
What is your recommendation for somebody who has never been to Tales and wants to, you know, come showcase in their little bit smaller brand?
We actually love small brands, and that's one of the things that, you know, I'm very proud of with Tales the Cocktail. We don't have any exclusives. We kind of ask everybody to play nice together. And my philosophy on that is because you're going to have more than, you know, one gin at your bar. So, you know, we don't just have one vodka at Tales the Cocktail. Again, every brand gets their own real estate, their own opportunity to have their presence. If you're a small brand, again, I recommend, depending on what type of spirit you are, that you work with us on, you know, something like one of our happy hour events, maybe Made in the USA. Maybe you work with us on the Daiquiri Timeout event. Maybe you work with us on a, you know, tasting room. But, you know, let us guide you. Emily and I are very honest with brands because we want you to have a really good experience, and we want you to be with us year in and year out. But again, people are looking to find out about new and small brands as much as they're, you know, interested in continue to learn about brands that maybe they've been using for a long time, that they get to learn more about at Tales of Cocktail. So don't think you're too small, because it's not about the money. It's honestly always about what's interesting. And, you know, there are a few examples that sometimes I reference, but you know, we had a Japanese whiskey a couple years ago that did a tasting room. They brought in their master blender, a Japanese gentleman. His English wasn't even that good. Of course, way better than my Japanese. But this gentleman started tasting spirits every day in the morning. And before he started tasting, to clear his palate, he ate a piece of toast and a hard-boiled egg. So before the people in this tasting room started to taste, with this master blender from Japan, they all ate a hard-boiled egg and a piece of toast. I think that's interesting. I think that's memorable. You know, it's not expensive. You know, last year we had a brand that was showing off their, you know, weeded whiskeys and let everybody in their tasting room, you know, they made their own bottle with their own percentage of, you know, corn, wheat, rye, things like that. Again, it was hands-on, it was interesting, it was memorable. I mean, there's so many examples of great things that brands have done, big and small. But again, it just has to be interesting and authentic and genuine.
If a brand is interested in doing one of the dining and drinking events, do they need to kind of know what restaurant they're want to work with, or do they need to reach out to them?
You do not need to reach out to the restaurant directly at this point. You would reach out to us first. We are kind of in the collaboration business when it comes to that, because you might tell us you're interested in a restaurant and we have a relationship with them, and we say, great. And we'll, you know, work with the restaurant and say, okay, such and such product is interested in working with you on Restaurant Week. And they say, okay, great. And we start putting you all together to collaborate on that. So, you know, you might have a suggestion of somebody you might want to work with, you might not, and we might have some suggestions of people that we think are a great partner for you. So again, let us know your thoughts and who you're interested in, and we can take it from there, and then again, make recommendations too. So you're involved every step of the way, but again, it's a, you know, collaboration, because we want to make sure you're very happy with that experience and that you and the restaurant work well together.
I do have one additional note about booking events and getting in your tasting room or spirited dinner submissions. Everything is done on a rolling basis. So as these submissions or events are starting to get booked, it's first come, first serve. So we do recommend, you know, booking early so you have your full, you know, crowd pick of the date, time, location of your different events.
Yes, that's a very important point that Emily brought up. Again, when it comes to the tasting rooms, the spirited dinners, all the ideas come through us. So you will have the opportunity, if you want to host a tasting room, we work with you, we'll send you a little paperwork and you'll say, okay, here's my idea of my tasting room. And we approve that and or make recommendations of how we think it could be more successful for you. And then you get to pick the date and time and location of the tasting room that you want. And like Emily said, that is on a first come, first serve basis. And, when they're gone, they're gone. We're not about the money in that sense. We're about making sure the attendees and the brand all have a great experience. So, we're not going to have 100 spirited dinners. We might have 20 because we want all 20 of those to be, jam-packed, sold out, fabulous, memorable, interesting experiences. So, do not wait till last minute because one, we won't be able to do it. And two, there's too much room for error. So, I hate to have to tell people no, but when they, call us 2 weeks before the event, we can't do anything with you and we wouldn't because honestly, it's a disservice to us. And again, there's too much room for error when it comes to, executing and activating.
So we've gotten through all the questions, but if you do have a question after the Shakeup, email us at partners@talesofthecocktail.com and we will get back to you as soon as possible.
Yes, and hopefully this was helpful. So I'd love to hear your feedback as well. Again, we would like to try to provide as much information as possible and, encourage you, as maybe a new brand to, work with us. I know the event can maybe kind of seem intimidating, but it really is, a wonderful place to be. And we really want to showcase your brand. Again, the world's most influential mixologist to send on New Orleans for Tales of Cocktails. So I believe it's truly an effective and efficient, spend for you. Again, people from 35 countries from around the US and, they are here to learn. They want to seek you out. They want to learn about your product. They want to learn the processes. They want to meet the people behind it, of any size product. So again, it's a great place to, be and showcase your product. And we have a lot of different options for you to do that. And again, it's just about being, interesting. It's not about necessarily, smothering people, but it's like, we want to fold you into our event that's successful for you and the attendee. So the way that Emily and I look at everything for any of these submissions is I ask myself, is it a benefit for the attendee and is it a benefit for the brand? If it is, then it's a win-win for everybody. If I can't answer yes to both of those two questions, then, it probably isn't, a good fit for us. So thank you very much. And like Emily said, any questions, you can email us anytime, partners@talesofthecocktail.com. You can also email me directly at any time, ANN@talesofthecocktail.com. The office number, if you want to give us a call, is 504-948-0511. And thank you very much. And we look forward to working with you in 2015.